So, this is Penney's pet project, and I think we're up to number 9. Alright, this one may take a while. I'm going to let you watch me put together a parakeet cage. Okay, this is not, remember, last time we used this size, and you watched me make a parrot cage, okay, with this size. You notice that this is smaller. The holes are smaller here, so to compare the difference in pieces, see, we're going to be using this size, and this is what I have started here for parakeets, because remember I told you the holes are smaller. Alright, I got started without you a little bit. This was a parakeet cage that was in one of my videos, and several of my parakeets came out through the top. It used to be long and stubby, and I used to open the top, it had a top flap like this, and somehow, I don't know, it got ragged, they got out. So I've lost 6 or 7 parakeets in a year and a half because of this. So I put them into a regular parakeet cage. I finally found one on sale. And so that leaves me free to take this apart and rebuild it and get the flaws out of it and try to make it better so they don't get out. All right, so that's what I've done is I've taken the whole strip and wrapped it around. I don't know if you can see where I use extremely, I have all kinds of wires and clips and all different size wires and strings and different pieces. All of these things came off the cage, and I'm going to reuse them. And that's why you really can't see. You see where it's come together here. Well, if you could get close enough, but the wire is extremely thin. I sealed it with really thin wire down through, okay? And this is, I don't know, what size this is. I didn't get the measure tape. This is, I guess, going to be a about a 26-inch high cage, and looks like about this is, I think, average. 12. Looks like 12 by, let's see, 28 by, looks like 28 by 15, something like that. Okay? Now we're talking parakeets, so this test that we make with the ruler inside, it is necessary because parakeets are, maybe 7 inches long. So you know, at the best, if not shorter. So between 5 to 7 inches, I guess. So, counting their tail, yeah, between 5 and 7. So, all right. So I've done this much, and then I've taken some other small pieces of wire, and I've already, I've already attached a lot of it. My question, of course, and I never have showed you this before. I wanted to leave it up to you. is the door. Where do you put the birds in, right? Well, you see this opening here? That's what I did last time. And as time went on and things got old and birds were chewing and biting here and there, somehow the hooks got old and they get out. Now, my thing is, if you decide you want to make a door, now this is stuck on here somehow. You decide you want to make a door or something, you know, they could come out the sides. I mean, if I did anything, my advice would be, I want to stick with the top, because you don't, I don't know. You know, I was going to do the same thing, I guess. I was going to put paper clip hooks and hook it across here, hook it, so it's hooked. But if you're busy and you're not paying attention, you carry the cages back and forth. I take them out and bring them in, and the hook comes unhooked, and you don't notice it, you're going to lose the parakeet, just like that. So, you know, if you're mindful and you're careful, you know, you can take paper clips and stretch them out, you know, and use them for hooks, you know, to hook the cage, to hook this piece of the door closed. You can see what I'm doing here, and then hook it, okay? Now, this is something I never showed you before because I wanted to leave it up to you what you did. But this is what I did last time, except I left the flap open. You know, last time I sealed it around here and left one side and lifted up and then seal it with a paper clip. You know, I would rather have peace of mind that there's nothing in the whole body of the cage where they can open the door and get out, okay? Because when you're talking about, this is, you know, very light. You know, it doesn't weigh anything. It's plastic, light plastic fencing. It weighs nothing. Okay, so I say the less holes you have in that you make, the less chances they're going to get out. And they can't fit through these holes, okay? They can put their little heads out, but remember that this is stretchy, okay? So don't panic. They can pull their head back in, all right? They can't hurt themselves. This is soft plastic, okay? So, you know, I have to say, I'm probably wrong again, but I have to say that I am going to maybe what I could do this time is reinforce the top a little better with some stiff wire and go with the hooks, okay? So that what you would do, you know, is unhook it and open it and put the birds in, okay? The other thing you've got to think about, which is what I'm trying to think right now, how to do this, is feeding every day. Okay, where are you going to put the feeders in the water, all right? I'm getting short on dishes because I just took on Max, the cockatiel. I've got, this is all I have left to work with. And I have this kind of dish and a cover that goes on it. Okay, and you see I can, where the hook would normally go, and this is just where their feet go, and they, whoops, I got it backwards. It didn't snap on very well, but anyway, this is how it goes, okay, and they eat through here and step here, and then in the back is where you can hook it into something. So, I don't know, I had to balance it last time on a stick. I'm not sure. Okay, that's the one that fits, I guess. Okay. So I'm not sure. So that's why I show you the basics of how to build the body and the roof, the feet, put the sticks in, and how to, you know. But what you do for an opening, I mean, you've got to think about, is it convenient for you, and do you feel certain that the birds can't, you know, go through these, you know, even if you have the hooks, you have these little spaces in between, you know, the hooks. They can squeeze out. So, I mean, and if you try to make like a door that flaps out, I mean, they can, what are you going to do to be sure that, you know, if it's on a rounded surface now, this cage is actually, you know, round. It's cute. It's round. So, I don't know, maybe on top, I don't know. To me, the less holes and openings you have, the better off. Because once the parakeets are in there, they're not coming out. If they come out, they're leaving you. They're going away. Okay, unless you're in the house and they get out and the door's closed, you can catch them with a net. But basically, the parakeets, once they're in for life. I mean, they just stay there unless you move them to a different cage. So, I say, okay, put it where it's convenient for you, but gives you peace of mind. You don't have to look all over the place wondering if they're getting out. You know, I mean, you've got the whole body that you don't have to worry about. You know, and the bottom will be sealed tight when you get the bottom on. So, I'm going to say I still say the top. Maybe that's not too cool because they hang out at the top. But you know, if you don't put your sticks real close to the top, I mean, they love this fencing. They love it because they can climb all around they love climbing this fence, okay? They like it better than metal strippings that are on the regular bird cages. They like climbing around on this. They don't have a problem with climbing up the fence and getting to the top, okay? But I wouldn't encourage it worse by putting the sticks way, you know, way up here where they're sitting real close to the roof. You know, I would discourage that by moving the sticks down low and giving them toys and things to occupy their mind. But they are going to look, you know, and they're going to check it out. You know, and if they see a little space, you know, and when they're new, they're curious. Believe me, especially the multicolored parakeets, the ones that are not standard, the one, you know, the blues, the greens, and the grays, those standard colors. If they get into the rare markings, they call them the rare marking parakeets, like I have, you know, they're like calico color. These birds, for some reason, are very curious, and they're very adventurous, and they're very brave, and they will try to find a way out. You know, what's this hole? What's this hole? And then they'll keep looking. Okay? So, moving right along, so that's what I'm going to do for this moment. I mean, I don't think it looks too secure to me. They can, I don't know. I'm not sure. If I want to seal this up, because to me, you see how it lifts up, and they can come out right out through here. So, I think that's how I lost them last time. Maybe I can put it tighter. You know, that's why I say to reinforce it around the top with heavy wire, so that you don't have that flimsy and, you know, right here where they can get through. They can, even though I've got it clipped, you know, they can put pressure on it. Okay, so cut this off because I've already got it here. This is a carpenter knife again. Okay, so that is my question. Okay, I say, which I didn't do when I had the big cage, if you reinforce it, like I told you with the parrot cage, then you don't get this soft, floppy sides, and even though you flip it down, you flip the top down, they can still, you know, get an opening going there. So, if you run stiff wire, I'm pretty sure that solves the problem. Extra wire here, because I used the rest of it, as you know, on the other video for the parrot cage. So it has some pieces here. If you run the wire, I can't get it unhooked. Maybe, I don't know, around the top. And I'm just weaving it in and out of the holes and running the wire in and out of every other square, you know. just a weave, cheap weave with some wire. This is that 14 gauge wire that I talked about before. I'm going to see, let's see if this will solve the problem. Because the only other option I would have would be to, I was going to put, you know, this on as a flip top. Maybe that's better. I don't know. And maybe cut the hole smaller than this, you know, enough to put a bird in. But that's where you'd have to reach through to change everything. So you want to have, you know, room for your arm to reach down and to get whatever. So I don't know, it kind of creeps me out because now you've got an opening all the way around here. I don't know. I got to think about, I'm going to try this idea here. Get out of sync with my weaving. Trying to weave wire isn't easy. It takes a little bit of patience. Okay, see, I've run the wire, the heavy wire through here, so that if you put the clips, close it with the clips, it gives it a little something tough to hold on to. It gives it a sturdier lip. I guess I lost the lip. You know, something a little sturdier to, hold on to. And really, I was going to put a roof on. I was going to put this roof on. But it doesn't make any sense. I don't know. It would be for looks, but you'd have to block these. I changed my mind, I guess, so far. see, if you can pull and make a space, if you can do it, then they can do it. So, this is something you want to think about, all right? I'm still using this wire to try to weave it. I don't know if that's going to work. I think you're going to have to run it around the lip and run around across the top. I don't know. Maybe I'm going to go ahead and sew it up and cut it off. You know, this is flimsy, you know, so you can't put, you know, if you put something solid, that they can't find an air hole. So that's why I say just make it here. I think the bottom would be a bigger risk. So, anyways, I wanted to show you the parakeet cage. And this could be a mistake. I'm not going to guarantee you should do this. But I'm not going to run wire, you know, through the sides because they're small. I have two other cages that I've made, but I had a parakeet cage bottom and sometimes a top. So I have a tray, and so the bottom half still had the door. So, you know, all I had to do was make the cage with no openings in it because I already had one. Because the bottom half of the tray, I had the trimming, you know, this part. I can show you what I mean. This is an example, because the stick fell out. This is an example of a cage that I made with the same size fencing I'm using now. Okay, you see the bottom, but you see that the bottom part's already there. So I already have a door, see, and all I did in a place to put the feeders, because the end of it stops right here, and then I just attached fencing, took the top off and added all this bubble of fencing so they have a bigger area to play in. Okay, that's all I did. So you can pull, you know, the trick. pull the trays out and, you know, deal with the feeders and whatever you want to do, and just attach the fence that way, okay? Okay, so what we're talking about doing, what I'm trying to get to do now, is we don't have those things to work with except a roof. And so, I'm not worried about stability. I'm just worried about the bird being able to open the flap and get out. That's the only thing that I'm worried about. And then you have to be able to get in and out for the feeders and the water. So, I'm going to roll with the hooks on the top for now. I don't recommend that you do it. If you can come up with a safer way, go ahead. Okay, but, that's what I've done for now, is reinforce it with wire. And then I've just got to put the bottom on, which is another weave that you do with pieces of wire. I use the thinner wire to weave with, and the heavier wire for construction to make it stand stiff. The cage doesn't weigh anything. The birds don't weigh anything. I mean, you don't have to deal with a whole lot of weight here. And if you have arthritis or something, these cages are awesome because they're so light. You know, I mean, I have tendonitis and stuff, so it's nice to have a really light cage. And if you're asking about, if the other thing I never showed you was, you know, there's no tray, so how do you clean it? Well, I simply put plastic underneath, like a, open up. I use just cat litter bags, and you can cut them open and open them up, or you don't even need to for this size cage. You can just lay it flat, you know, underneath on the bottom of the cage. You just set it down, put the plastic on a stand or wherever you're going to put it, and then set the cage on top of it. Then you pull, you know, lift the cage up, take the plastic out, and take it and dump, you know, the mess in the trash, and then just wash it in the sink, dry it out, put it back. That's how I would do it. The problem you're going to have is, what happens after a while is that you see the growth on this, okay? This was the bottom of the old cage, and because when they mess and everything, now this scrubs right off. You can scrub plastic, of course, but I don't know, if you want to put, you know, these holes are awful small, so I mean, you can pull the plastic out now, but I don't know, I wouldn't worry about that. I mean, because this cage got like this, I mean, I had 14 parakeets in there, or at least 10, and we're talking about over quite a few months period of time. All right, so I really think that's the way to go, you know. Um, but if you're looking for pretty and stuff like that, decorate your house, you know, you want the cage. They tell you all the time, don't do that. Don't pick a cage because it matches the decor in your house, okay? And you think the cage looks antique and it looks nice, and the birds are extremely uncomfortable. This is why I do what I do. You know, if you want to have a bird, then you make them happy. You give them what they need, all right? That being said, all right, um, I'm running out of things. All I have is leftovers, so, you know, I'm going to have the swing. You're going to have to put them in first if you're going to seal the top, okay? Before you do the bottom, you're going to have to figure out, and then the sticks. Now be careful now, because see, some of these sticks, you see when I try to, see how it's stretching the cage and put it out of shape? Got to be careful of that. So you might want to roll with, you know, a stubbier, short. This is actually a parrot stick, you know, perch. No, that's not going to work. Run it this way. I mean, I'm trying to find sticks, you know, that aren't going to upset the shape of the cage. And this actually looks like it's almost going to be too short. To give them much room to jump on. But, you know, we're talking about parakeets, they're not that big. See? So it's going to get tucked in the corner, but there is space for them to get on. This might be another one of those times where I have to, you know, because the pegs are so long. Yeah, see, when I try to connect it, it throws the cage. It's stretching the cage. See, you can't use it. So I do have somewhere I've got a ladder. You can also make a ladder. Somewhere I have a ladder, and I just can't seem to find it right now. This is just another toy. problem with toys like this, you know, to put things in the little cups and what, I mean, you have to keep reaching and getting them because they mess them and then mess them up and then you have to take them out almost daily and wash them. So I've learned a lot. And actually I had this in the finch cage. Finches are smart. If you want a bird that doesn't bite and doesn't make a lot of noise, get finches. Okay. And you only need to buy one male and one female, and they'll control their population. They'll lay the first 5 to 6 eggs. They'll make one set of family, and then they will stop. It depends on the size cage you give them. But I would suggest those long cages that I have with the roofs, the long ones. They're not into height; they're into just going back and forth. So you want to give them those cages that they sell with the 2 little roofs and the centerpiece, and they're about 24 inches long, maybe a little longer than that, like 32 inches long by 18 high. That's plenty enough room, and they will keep the number of babies based on the amount of space you give them and how much junk you put in the cage. Try not to put too much. I hang a couple of nests and they love to swing. Give them a swing, and they don't play with toys, but they do if it's something that they can pull apart or pull little pieces off and it's fine and put it in their nest. Okay, getting back to this one. And this is actually for a parrot. And I was going to say, except I can't find it, is I had parakeet ladder, which I was going to use in place of the other stick. You can also make one. This is from the bigger fencing, and this is what I use for a ladder for like parrots. If I wanted to, I could use that. Just to show you can put this homemade, ladder in here. Just because I can't find the one I bought. You can make a ladder out of fencing. And wire it. Clip it on there, wire it. So you have, a homemade fence in there, see? Ladder. Which is just made out of the bigger fencing. So, as you can see, I don't know what you can see on the camera, but see there's the fencing that I use for ladder. And that would be just fine also. Just remember that the more you put in, the more you got to take out and clean. So make sure that you set the cage up to be convenient to you. Okay? Now, if you're going to put the homemade ladder in like I did, you are going to have to attach it on both ends. But if you use little clips, you can unclip it and pull the ladder out, probably through the top or however you're going to do it. Scrub it up because plastic is washable, and hook it back in. Okay, but that, the main thing is to give them a toy, a mirror, a ladder, 2 sticks. You don't have to have the ladder. You can have 2 sticks and this kind of this is like a little mini ladder, and they used to fight over who's going to sleep on that at night. But I give them a mirror and a toy that they can bite and definitely cuddle bone. Okay? So I'm just going over things that I haven't mentioned to you yet. Okay, so you want to have 2 sticks, a climb toy, you know, something they can pull apart, a cuddle bone, and a mirror. All right, these are all $1, $2, $3, $4 items. They're real cheap. You're saving yourself between $59 and $125 by making a cage instead of buying it. Okay. And remember, you can always use sticks that you find outside too, until you can get to all that. I mean, bird posts are cheap, you know. And that's it for now. And I hope I've covered everything for you. And it should be pretty easy for you to do. This is the same construction as I did with the parrot cage. Only this is a parakeet cage. Okay. And once again, when it comes down to the feeders, I can see this just isn't my day. When it comes down to the feeders, I would get the ones with a cover if you can. Remember, it's going to be, if you're going to reach down this way, the go-to way you're going to have the opening in the top. Okay, so that you can put it in this way, and then you're going to have to, you know, hook it. All right, if this is going to be your only entrance and to get in, then you want to make sure that you can reach it with your arm. So this is really meant to hook on the post, but I have gotten away with, and it doesn't stay real good. It's going to fall. I'm telling you now. That's why I have to generally, I got to take it to where the stick is. See, the thing is, this camera is not showing. I put it to where the stick is, and you see I can tuck it in the holes like this. All right, and then it has to hook on like that. But I'm telling you, I have had mega problems because it has to sit on the stick has got to support it. So you want to make sure that your stick is snug. And it has the food, especially the water, balanced right. Okay? This isn't set up, this isn't exactly right. See what I mean about the fronts being flimsy? And why you might want to reconstruct it with wire and whatever, because you're getting all kinds of problems here. Personally, you know what? I would go with the tube feeders and put the tube feeder on and attach it and let the little foot from the feeder stick through and put it over the stick. I had better luck with that than these dishes are a hassle. Okay, but I would take those tube feeders. They're only $2 and $3 a piece, and they come with a clip to clip on the cage. But you don't need that. Take the clip off and put the tube, fill the tube up with seed and water, and attach it. Push it up against the cage, and then take some paper clips, you know, and hook the tubes on. That's what I would do. This, you know, it's on now. You know, But it took a few tries. But you got to remember, I mean, you got to go in and out. But what I do, because I don't want to take the dishes out unless they're really grody and I have to, is I actually tip the bottles. I get bottles that have little openings like that and fill the bottle with seed or water, and I pour it right through the hose and land it in the dish without even going through the top. But if you have to, you can. You know, the top's right there, and you just take the clips off and go ahead and pour it in there, okay? But I make sure that it's sitting on top of a stick like this, okay? And I hook the NC in here. But I'm telling you that this is flimsy, and I don't recommend. I would sooner go with the tubes, seriously, because I don't know how sturdy. Birds don't do nothing but, you know, moving it around, and it falls down, the seed goes on the floor and everything. And if you're busy and you're on your way to work, you don't need to deal with that. So, the tube is the best thing. And then, if you don't have but a couple of parakeets, a lot of times them tubes will last 2 days and 2 nights. So that will help you out there. And these dishes will too. I mean, you can fill these dishes. They're about, you know, 2 inches high, and you can load it up with seed and then give you a water feed. I would definitely use the tube for water on this kind of cage. And then it gives you a couple of days break from having to deal with them every day. And, you know, you're just talking about pulling out the plastic, cleaning it, and sticking it back under the, you know, the bottom of the cage. Okay, so now you've seen how I do the parakeet cage. All right, and I'm just going to give you a little heads up about this top. Okay, the whole reason I'm taking it apart, put them in a regular cage that I bought, and redoing this is because I had a flap and it got worn out and the clips got twisted and whatever. They got out, okay? And they got out in a hole where I couldn't see it. So, if you're going to make one of these, first of all, I would keep it to full parakeets, okay? In this size right here, okay? I wouldn't go beyond 4 because it's hard to keep your eye on all of them. And somebody's going to get adventurous, and somebody's going to figure out how to squeak through in between your clips, you know. A little bigger bird. The reason I'm going to take another chance. Well, I'm going to do 1 or 2 things. I'm going to add more parakeets to my collection, all right. Well, I'm going to get a lovebird. Now, if you have a lovebird, they're chubbier than a parakeet. I don't think you're going to have a problem with them trying to get out. But parakeets are ambitious, curious, adventurous. They'll look for ways to get out. They will. Okay. The one that you saw with the bubble, I mean, there is no openings. It's just the sliding doors because I had the bottom of the cage. That's fine. Okay, that's what I was trying to tell you. I took, you know, chances doing this, but I'm home all day, okay, disability, so I don't work. So I can wash, but I'm telling you, I mean, I come in and do the housework, and I put the birds outside in the bird cage. I've gone out there, and my parrot has started hollering at me and to let me know there's a bird out, and sure enough, there'll be one sitting there on top of the cage. Sometimes I get them, sometimes I lose them. Okay, so because the other thing that happens with that screening out there is if they have the cage pushed up against the screening, they're chewing little holes, and I don't know they're there, and then when a bird gets out, he goes up through the hole, and he's gone. So, these are some things I'm telling you right now that could happen, okay? I don't highly recommend these as far as being sure that they're not going to get out, okay? They could, and if you're busy and you forget to hook the hook, so you think you hooked it and you didn't, they're going to catch that right off quick because they got nothing but time on their hands, and they will find out that you know, left them a little den space, and all they have to do is put a little pressure on there and make a bend opening, and they can get out anyway. That's why I'm talking about the wire. So there are some pluses and minuses to this. I mean, you can take the time, like I did with the parrot cage, to run heavy-duty wire down through and across the top, sturdy it up. And I actually made a door for it. I can't show you that because I can't carry the camera out there. I can't carry the computer. And I don't want to disrupt Max. But I cut a hole here and opened the flap, okay, for his door on the parrot cage. You can do that, but I'm telling you that parakeets are pretty clever, and the more cuts and openings you have, the greater the chance you're going to lose that parakeet. I would keep it to one little spot, and I would test it to make sure that they can't squeeze through nothing. Maybe you like the sound of the idea of the latch, you know, with you know, this kind of thing, and put it on top and have a latch. Make sure if you do that the hole is smaller than this by far. I mean, because they're very good at squeezing through things. Parakeets are curious, they're nosy, they're never ending, and they're going to keep looking for something new to do. And that's what I have, and so that's how you do the parakeet cage. Not much different than the parrot cage. And I wanted to cover a few things that I had not told you before, and I knew that you might be wondering, you know, what to do. As far as how do you make the opening, and how do you clean the cage, and why isn't there a bottom? Okay, I think I've answered those now, and this is just a very, very cheap, you know, way to get fencing and a roll of wire and make a bird fence. Obviously, I've noticed there's quite a few how to make a bird aviary, how to make a bird cage out of wood and screening. And if you're carpentry minded, you can do hammer and nails and measure things out and go for that. That's safer. Okay. This is just a way, if you don't have a lot of strength in your hands and you're not carpentry minded or whatever, but maybe you're creative, but this is very lightweight, very lightweight. You know, see, I can bend it right over. That's what I had to work with, and so that's what I'm doing. Safety-wise, I don't know what they're doing when they use, you know, you can actually get screening that already has the trim. And if you do that, if you get the screening that already has the wood trim around it, and you get 4 sections, top, bottom, and sides, and nail them together, how, you know, you get in and out of that. I've seen the videos, but I don't catch how they're doing that yet. That would certainly be very secure. How handy they are, and how easy it is to clean them, I don't know. But certainly the chances of losing your bird might be a little less than one of these. Okay. To be honest with you, I'm getting tired of losing them, and this is something I can start off with, and I'm going to tell you that as soon as I can come up with the extra money to get, I see a cage go on sale, I take them out of this and then put them in a cage. Okay. But it gives you a chance if you're low income, you don't have a lot of money. It's easy to afford a parakeet. They're $19.95 plus tax a piece. But cages are very expensive, and it may be a little rough on the pocketbook. So that's why I'm telling you this. Okay, fencing. You can buy a section of this roll of fencing for, I don't know, $19.95, and the wiring that I showed you when I was making the other cage. Oh, I don't know, that's probably $7 or $8. But it's way, way, way less than having to buy a cage, okay? And it will get you by so that if you want to get the bird now, because you don't want somebody else to take it because you like the color or you want that kind of parakeet, that happens to me all the time, you grab the parakeet, you can put them in one of these, and you keep them there, they'll be just fine, until you can get a regular parakeet cage, okay? I mean, this is durable, it'll last a long time. Okay, but eventually the parakeets, if you watch them, they're going all up around the edges and they're up and down. They love climbing on this stuff. They love, love, love it. They love it better than a wire cage. But they're adventurous and they will find a way out. So maybe you can find a top to throw over it, something that gives you peace of mind. Maybe you can do that. Put an additional piece over it. Whatever gives you peace of mind. And do like that. And whatever you've got to do to give yourself some peace of mind to get the birds home and get them into something until you can get a cage that's affordable. And that's what I have, and thank you for listening. Hope the tips are going to help you. Don't think you can see through my shirt. Whatever. Okay. See you later with Penny Link's Pet Project 10 next time we talk. Have a good one.